Hey, what's up everybody? It's Julius DeBerry with Majestic Studios, and I'm back again today with another Korg Nautilus video. And this is the final video in the Korg Drum Tracks and Arp series that I've been doing. It's not to say we won't do more videos concerning that feature in the future, but this is the last video in that series. This is part 4. So if you've not seen the rest of the videos, please go back and watch part 1 through 3 and then come back to this one. Hope you guys have been enjoying them and learning some stuff from it. But today is the final one. And yeah, I'm titling this video The Secret Step Sequencer in the Korg Nautilus. If you want to find out what I'm talking about, keep watching. Here we go. Not be a secret to everyone, but I'm sure it's a secret to some people. And the only reason I'm calling it a secret is because it's not like the most out front thing in the keyboard. And as far as I know, they have not had a step sequencer in the Korg keyboards prior to this. If they have, it has not been in this fashion. They have had step sequencers in the keyboards. I think there was one in the Korg Kronos within some of the engines as far as sequencing the LFOs and some modulation stuff like that. But I think this is the first time that we've had a step sequencer with visual feedback for us to interact with directly on the screen within the keyboard. So let's jump in and figure out exactly how this works. All right, so I've already showed you guys how to get into the Arp and the drum track section of the keyboard. And so we're just going to go there. You're going to push this tab right here that says Arp Drum. And we've talked about this entire screen and what every part does, except for this one section here that says Edit Step Sequence. Now, if you guys are like me and like I try to encourage you to do, I'm sure you've already dug in and clicked on this to see what happens, but I'm sure some people haven't. So we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But what a step sequencer is it allows you to set predetermined events to happen within the sequencer time frame based on beats in the meter. Okay, so you can set that if you want something to happen on beat 1, you can set that event to hit on beat 1. If you want something to happen on beat 4 of measure 2, you can set that to happen. And so it allows you to kind of go in and customize what your sequences are doing. Now, in this manner, in this case, all step sequences aren't like this, but in this manner, this one is mainly or is primarily going to be triggering pitches from our drums and our percussions. It's tied to our drum track. I'm going to dig a little further later and see if there's a way to trigger arpeggios as far as like instruments from within this, but as it stands, and I believe that there is going to be a way to do that, but as it stands, this is only going to trigger drum tracks, drum sounds, percussion sounds. So you're going to go to this screen. Like I said, you're going to push the Arp drum, and right here in this section it says Edit Step Sequence. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring to your attention is the instrument list. Now, when you click here on the instrument list, this little button right here, you can go in and you can tell the sequencer, the step sequencer is made up of 12 instruments or 12 parts as far as percussion instruments or sections of a percussion instruments within a percussion section. You can go here, if you push this button, you can go here and you can tell the keyboard, these are the specific samples that I want to be triggered. So right here on number 1, it says C3 kick 00170 BD, that stands for bass drum, and then dry. Velocity 8, that's what the V8 stands for. So if I click that, I can go in here and I can select from any of the drum categories: kick drum, snare drum, hi-hat, ride crash, tom, percussion, sound effects, or anything else. And you can go in and tell it, these are the specific samples that I want playing during when that tone or that key is pushed or triggered within the step sequencer. So we're going to leave that on that note there. Not that note, but that percussion sound. And you can do that for any one of these sounds. So this one says hand clap. So when part number 3 or instrument number 3 is triggered, that's going to be associated with a hand clap at velocity, or it doesn't have velocity, it says F4. So I'm thinking that these extra numbers, but that's going to trigger a hand clap. Okay, so from there, like I said, you can do 1 through 6 on this column, or this column, and then number 7 through 12. And each one of the step sequences holds 12 instrument sounds. All right, so if you want to edit the sequence itself, though, you've got 4 that you can pick from. So just like we have our arpeggios, we're set up when there's 4 that we can trigger at any given moment and keep in tempo and keep in time. We can push that button and it's going to bring up step sequence A, step sequence B, whoops, step sequence C, and step sequence D. Okay, now we're going to go back to A. Now each step sequence is made up of I think 64 steps. If right here, let's go back a little bit. All right, so let's talk about this screen in entirety, and then we'll go back and get a little more detailed. All right, so we're able to load arpeggio patterns, and then we're able to clear everything that we have in here already. So if we had a bunch of these dots pushed, we could just push all clear, and it would access it for sure, and then it would clear all the dots. We can also load arpeggio patterns. They have arpeggios that are already built into the keyboard. The same arps that we would be triggering using this button that we've talked about in the past, or the arps that we've listened to, the pre-programmed drum beats and stuff that we've listened to in the past. So if we went to, let's say if we went to drums, looking at the drum patterns, and we went to beat 08 and we pushed OK, it's going to load that pattern that we would hear right here in the ARP for us. So let's listen to it. All right, so that's that pattern that's already in there. We can load another one. Let's see, let's load just something random, drum and bass 14. Now, as you see, that was just a lot of claps in the drums, the kick drum. That could be what you want, and if it's not, you could go in there and change those sounds out to make it fit more into whatever style or tones that you're shooting for as far as your song is concerned. So let's load this drum and bass 14 and see what it sounds like. All right, so let's say that we don't like that crash sound that keeps happening. We can go right here into instrument list, and let's see, that crash was happening on, let's see, let's so that's right here on number 6. You see right here, these are all the 12 instruments that you have selected. It shows you the categories. And of course, the instrument that you have on that category would be selected in this screen here. So we would go to number 6 and we say, okay, we didn't like that sound. Let's try something else. So let's just put a China there, China 2 dry. So let's listen to what it sounds like now. Alright, so just that easy, you can go in and you can start to change. Let's see, you can change what the sound that we're hearing. Let's just change the kick drum just to see what difference it makes. Just that's doing something that simple. So as you see, you can manipulate the patterns that Korg has already put in here and change them and customize them to make them fit what it is that you want them to be. All right, don't try to use instruments, melodic instruments in these patterns, because I don't think it's gonna make much sense unless we can figure out how to get something other than drum samples in this area of the screen, okay? All right, so let's go back. And we're going to clear all to go back to a blank slate. All right, so let's talk about each one of these sections and just so you guys understand what each one of these buttons or each one of these sections is for. All right, so the meter, of course, that is the time signature of your song. You can select between 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, 1/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, 12/4, 13/4, 14/4, 15/4, 16/4. Then it goes to 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, 9/8, 10/8. So you see there's a lot of different meters here for you to choose from. I actually didn't realize that there was that many because I only checked to make sure 3/4 was there, and 4/4 that would pretty much cover everything that I would need. But as you see, they have, you know, you can go to 6/8 if you need to. They've got every feel that you can probably imagine. Looks like it goes all the way up to 16/16. So but generally speaking, the music that most people are doing is going to be in 3/4 or 4/4 and 6/8. But there's other options here if you need it. All right, so we're going to go back to 4/4. That's the meter. The length is how many steps is in your sequence. All right, so each screen holds, each screen holds 16 steps. You see step 1 is here all the way through step 16. And each one of these little things at the top is indicating which set of 16 you're on. So you've got the first 16, the second 16, the third 16, the fourth 16, and that equals 64. So there's 64 steps total within each step sequence. All right, so we're going to put our length on 8. All right, so if we put our length on 8, then that means there's going to be 8 steps within this sequence. Now, if we go to this one, it won't even trigger it. Okay, did you see that? We go here, they don't have their own settings per area of the per set of 16. All these settings refer to the entire pattern. Okay, so if you would like to be able to edit steps 17 through 32, then you've got to make sure you've got more than 16 steps allotted. Right now we only have ours on 8. So if we were to put it on, you see the more steps we add, this little area here gets larger and larger, more covered. So if we want to be able to edit stuff in this second area, we've got to have more than 16 steps. So now when we click this, we see that this visual feedback to tell us that now we've got step 17 through 25 where we can put notes in, and the loop, once triggered, the loop will go through up to step 24 and then start over. So I would put mine on, let's just put it on 8, just for demonstration purposes. And then the next one is resolution. The resolution is just telling us the resolution of each step. So we're in 4/4. And if we put each step, if we put it on quarter notes, then each one of these steps indicates a quarter note. Okay? All right, so if we were to push play, our tempo is on 96. I'm going to put the hi-hat on just so we can hear it. And you can slide across and it'll add those notes in. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is our current tempo, okay? Those beats that you're hearing are the quarter note. So if we were to change our resolution to 1/8 notes, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to cut this in half and it's going to sound like it's 2 times as fast. Okay? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, and if we go to 16th notes, it's going to sound 2 times as fast as this. 1 iana, 2 iana, 1 iana, 2 iana, 1 iana, 2 iana, 1 iana, 2 iana. All right, so this resolution is indicating what each step within this represents. So we're in 4/4, okay? So we're in 4/4, and we put on quarter note, then we know that this is indicating that this is going to take up 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. This step is going to take 2 measures in 4/4, okay? If we put it on 1/8 notes, now let me show you something else. You see this little black line between? That's showing you the subdivision between each step, okay? So we were to put this on eighth notes. Now you've got, well, I guess that's the beat, not necessarily, it's not the step, but between each beat. So one, these are quarter notes now. So each, there's a step, quarter note. I mean, step, black line to indicate that is the end of beat one. Then number two, black line, that's the end of beat two, all the way up to number four. Then there's a white line showing you this is the end of the measure, okay? Four beats in a measure because we're in 4/4, and then another one starts, and the black line is subdividing each beat. Not subdividing, but dividing each beat. So now if we go to eighth notes, now you see that black line has moved, and there's a one and, now there's two steps within one beat, okay? The black line indicates the beat, the white line indicates the end of the measure, okay? So now it's on one and, three and one and beat, and one and two and three and four and one and, okay? All right, so that's showing you how this is going to show up in your song. And I'm sorry if this is too detailed, but I just want to make sure everyone understands this. So now if we go to 16th notes, now we're gonna have one E and a, and then two E and a. So there's gonna be four steps within one beat, okay? And just depending on how you want your song to go, you can do this. So you can make more time go by using 16th notes, and there's more beats that are going to happen within a certain time frame. Or you can slow it down and go to not whole notes, quarter notes, and keep the standard tempo. Or you could double it up, like I said, using, if it's quarter notes, and you can double it up using eighth notes, and you can double that up using 16th notes, okay? All right, so it just makes more steps happen within a shorter time frame. Okay, the next thing, I hope everybody understands that. If you don't, please ask questions in the comments and I will address them. All right, the next thing is the accents. At the very bottom here, you can set notes to be accented within the step sequence, okay? And pushing, let's see if we can find one. Let's go to snare. All right, so if we set this to be accented, and we have accent on 0, what's supposed to happen is that this accent can be turned up, and it's like a modulation that a parameter change that happens plus 63 to that snare on that count, wherever this accent note is, okay? You can also go minus 63. So when it gets there, it's going to accent it, it's de-accent, if that's even a word, minus 64. So let's hear what that sounds like. It took it out completely. So let's say if we went to plus 64. So it must be already at max velocity. So if we took this one and went down, so you see, it took 12 away. So whenever this accent hits here, it's taking 14 off of whatever parameter, probably the one that velocity that would make the sample sound louder or softer. So it's subtracting 20 away now whenever that accent is there. So this one's going to be normal volume, this first one, and this one is going to have negative 20 taken off of it. Okay, so that gives you a little bit more control over what's happening within your percussion. All right, and then the last thing is the steps per beat. This is for if you have swing within your arpeggio, okay? If you have notes that are swinging, ba-da, 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 versus the eighth note swinging like 1. This is straight 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if it swings, it's 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. All right, it's going to swing. So this steps per beat, what this does, and this is in the manual. I was not exactly sure. It took me a while to figure out what this meant, but it's in the manual. But what this does is if you have times 1 set, what it does is it's going to swing steps 2, 4, 6, 8, and continue up to 64 in even number increments. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Those steps, okay? Not beats, but those steps themselves will be swung. Okay, So what it does, if you have X2 selected, the first step it's going to swing is step 3. And then after that, instead of going up in increments of 2 like X1 did, it's going to go up in increments of 4. So it's going to swing step 3, then it's going to swing step 7, then it's going to swing step 11, then it's going to swing step 15 and keep going up in increments like that, okay? If you have 4 selected, the first one it's going to swing it's 2, 5, and then 7. So it does 7. All right, so if you have X4 selected, the first step it's going to swing is number 5, okay? From there, it's going to skip 8 steps. So it's going to be 5, then 13, then 21, then 29. So all depending on how you want it to sound, as far as when you want the swings to happen, you're going to select this steps per beat, okay? Again, X1, the first step it's going to swing is 2, and it's going to go up in increments of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, all the way up to 64, okay? Or however many, the length of your sequence. If you have it on X2, the first one is 3, step 3, and then it's going to go up 4, so it's going to swing step 3, step 7, step 11, step 15. If you have it on 4, the first one it's going to swing is step 5, and it's going to skip 8 steps. So the next one is 13, and then 21, and then 29. Okay, that's how it's going to automate your swing if you have the swing parameter activated within your arpeggio or within your step sequence. Okay, so that is pretty much it. But in my opinion, this is very powerful. Now, you know, they took Karma from us. Karma's gone. We don't have it anymore in the Nautilus. But we have a very customizable drum track and arpeggio section within the board. So if you guys dig in here, between the 4 videos that we put out up to now, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of digging into that can be done. There's a lot that can be accomplished. You just got to be willing to dig in there a little bit and kind of customize stuff. Just try something, see what happens. If it sounds good, keep it. Okay. Again, this is video 4. There's 3 more in front of it. If you have any questions on any of those videos, please leave them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as possible and answer them. Please like, share, subscribe. And I know it's been a while since we put a video out, but there's been a lot of stuff going on. But I've got some stuff coming back out for you guys pretty soon. That's it. We're out.